Hello, social studies scholars. We continue our lessons on the Bill of Rights. Our learning target reads that you will be able to understand the principles established in the Bill of Rights. And this lesson is going to conclude, meaning end, our lessons on the Bill of Rights. This one covers numbers 7 through 10 of the 10 Bill of Rights. So make sure that you have a piece of paper and a writing utensil handy, or another window open with a word processing document so that you can record notes and information. Here we go. So the 7th Amendment, that's the one that we are starting with, and here are the actual words for the 7th Amendment. It says, in suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of common law. So let's get into what these words actually mean. What is the 7th Amendment all about? Well, to sum it up, the 7th Amendment is about jury trials. All right, let's delve into the details. The 7th Amendment guarantees that Americans will receive a jury trial in civil, as opposed to criminal cases, involving property worth more than $20. So, anything criminal is going to be like stealing or robbery or battery. That means hurting somebody else physically. It could be a murder trial. All of those are examples of criminal, okay? And if they're not criminal, then they are considered civil. So civil might mean that somebody owes you money. You agreed to sell your car for a certain amount of money, and that person agreed to pay that amount of money. Let's say that they didn't pay that amount of money. You could sue them and go to a civil court. All right. So as long as it's worth more than $20, that is the baseline for this amendment. That you can go to trial, you can have a jury as long as it's worth more. The property is worth more than $20. Okay. So there it is, seeking money to compensate your loss from the person you are suing. If you've ever seen Judge Judy on TV, she holds a civil court. So that might give you an idea of the difference between the civil cases and criminal cases. Okay, so here's the idea. You and another person have signed a contract. You agree to pay them a certain amount of money, but you don't pay them that amount of money. Maybe you write a check for less, or you don't make the proper installments. That person then has the right to sue you because you did not pay the agreed upon money. And so your trial can go to court, and you can have a jury that will hear the evidence and decide whether or not that person is owed the amount of money that was agreed upon. Okay, the 8th Amendment. This one says, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Okay, are your wheels turning on this one? Let's delve into the details. So the 8th Amendment, to sum it up, it is about bails, fines, and punishments. So the 8th Amendment protects people from having to pay unreasonably high bail in order to be released from prison before they go to trial. So Bail is what a person can pay, so it's an amount of money they can pay to the courts in order to be released from jail. In order to be released from jail before they go to trial, before they go to court. So if you are accused of murder, for example, you probably cannot pay bail. But if you're accused of a crime where you are not, where you most likely won't inflict harm upon others, you have the ability to pay a certain amount of money so that you can go home before your case goes to trial. Some trials take a couple of months, and instead of sitting in jail for a couple of months before you go to trial, you can go home and not sit in jail. Okay. The 8th Amendment also outlaws cruel and unusual punishment. So, cruel and unusual punishment, that might be considered a flogging or a beating. So, let's say that you are accused or you are convicted of a crime, then they cannot say beat you with a bat or something awful like that. They can't do those types of punishments against you. That is outlawed. So here is a picture that represents a person being able to post bail, pay bail instead of sitting in the jail cell before they go to trial. And here is a picture that represents cruel and unusual punishment. So this is an old-fashioned picture that shows somebody who is accused or maybe convicted of this crime. This means that they lied about something, and instead of putting them in this this kind of headlock with their arms and them not being able to move as punishment in front of other people, this is the example of punishments that are cruel, that are not allowed in the United States. These are outlawed by the 9th Amendment. Now on to the last amendments in the Bill of Rights, the 9th and 10th Amendments. And to sum these up, people talk about these as reserved powers. When you reserve something, you hold on to them. All right. So, the 9th Amendment says that the Constitution does not define all of the rights that people have. There are rights that exist whether they are defined or not. So they're saying that in the 9th Amendment that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, it may not outline all of the rights that are guaranteed to people because they're human beings living in the United States of America. So they're leaving room open so that we can have conversations about what is considered rights, and those rights can be protected, even if it isn't in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. Okay? And the 10th Amendment, it concerns the rights of states. It says that states and people have rights set aside, and those rights may not be listed item by item. So it's very similar to the 9th Amendment, but this one is specifically about the rights of states. Okay, you might be wondering, well, what's the big deal about the 9th and 10th Amendments? Well, here are some questions to help you think about both of the last amendments, okay? What these two do is it allows the Constitution to grow and to change. We have to think about how different our country is now compared to the 1700s when the Constitution was written. We interpret the law a little bit differently, perhaps, than when our forefathers wrote the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Do you think that our forefathers thought about cell phones back in the 1700s? Are there rights that we have with our cell phones that weren't even thought of when they wrote these laws and these amendments? Got to think about those kinds of things. So what do you think our country will be like in the future? Do you think that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights are going to change with the changes that come along in the future? Okay, so here are some pictures to help you think about why the 9th and 10th Amendments are there, why they allow for room and change with the ideas. So this is an idea of what the future could look like, these kind of inflatable offices. Are there some rights maybe that are going to change with this person's rendition of the future? What about new technology? Are there going to be different laws and rights that come along with new technology that we can't even think about right now? And what is that future going to hold? All right, everybody, that concludes, meaning that ends our lessons on the Bill of Rights. I hoped you learned a little something. We're going to have a project that goes along with the Bill of Rights. Let me know if you have questions. Bye.